All right, so picture this. You're 15 years old, you're at the airport, about to head off on this epic family vacation to Bali. The energy's buzzing, right? But for one girl, Blanche, that excitement just imploded. Right there at gate 24, her entire world was completely upended by just a few words from her own mom. "You're not coming with us." Just like that. No real explanation, not even a sorry. Her mother just drops this bomb while her new husband and step-siblings are standing right there. The casual way she said it was somehow even colder than if she'd been yelling. So after that bombshell, her mom shoves a couple $100 into her hand, gives her this quick, barely there kiss on the forehead, and then just walks away. Doesn't even look back. This wasn't just some last-minute change of plans, you guys. This was the kickoff to an absolutely insane story of betrayal and, believe it or not, discovery. So you have to be asking, how in the world does something like this even happen? Well, for Blanche, getting dumped at the airport was really just the final straw. It was the last move in this long, slow game of her being pushed right out of her own family. And it all kicked off the minute her mom remarried. See, before, it was just Blanche and her mom. They didn't have a lot of money, but they had each other, and Blanche was her mom's whole world. But then her mom marries this rich guy, Richard, and everything flips. Suddenly, they're in a mansion, but Blanche goes from being the star of the show to being called baggage by her new stepsister. Ouch. About a week before the trip, Blanche overheard her mom and stepfather talking, and it was chilling. He asks, "What about the arrangements for Blanche?" And her mom's reply wasn't, "Oh, she's so excited." It was, "She won't be a problem." That's a huge red flag, right? It was pretty clear she was being managed, not actually included in the family. And this is what her mother decided she was worth for 2 weeks. $200. Basically enough to get an Uber home and maybe some pizza money that was supposedly left in a drawer. This wasn't just being forgetful. This was a calculated, cold-hearted dismissal of her own kid. So there she is, all alone, watching her family's flight just vanish from the departures board. I mean, the hours must have just crawled by in this haze of shock and total humiliation. But as things got more and more desperate, one last-ditch idea started to take shape in her mind. 6 hours. Can you even imagine that? Sitting there completely alone, her phone's about to die, her mom's not answering her texts, the airport is starting to feel really empty. She's scrolling through her contacts, and her thumb just stops on a name that makes her heart pound. Dad. The same dad her mom had told her for years had just moved on and didn't want anything to do with her. With her hands shaking, she hits the call button. And the second he picks up, the whole awful story just comes tumbling out between sobs. This was it. This was her Hail Mary, her only hope left in a situation that felt completely and utterly hopeless. And his response? It was immediate. "No, let me see what I can do." Just total resolve. "I am coming to get you myself." In that one single sentence, her dad gave her more comfort and protection than her mom had in years. And everything was about to change. And get this, 3 hours later, a private jet touches down on the tarmac. A private jet. Blanche wasn't expecting some hero on a white horse, let alone one who owned his own plane. The man her mother had painted as a total deadbeat was actually the CEO of a successful tech company. The whole web of lies was already starting to come apart. As soon as they were up in the air, the real story, the one that had been kept from Blanche for her entire life, it all started to pour out. Her father just began, piece by piece, taking apart every single lie her mother had ever told her. And here's the kicker. Her dad came with receipts. I mean, literally. He showed her bank statements proving he'd sent tons of child support, way more than her mom admitted. He had records of private investigators he'd hired to find her when she moved. And then, the knockout blow. A letter from her mom's lawyer threatening to sue if he ever tried to contact Blanche. This wasn't just lying. This was a deliberate campaign to erase him from her life. It's something called parental alienation. But the proof? It got even more heartbreaking. When they went back to her old house to pack her stuff, Blanche found this box tucked away in her closet. And inside, every birthday card, every Christmas present, every single letter her dad had ever sent. Her mom hadn't just intercepted them, she actively hid them away, trying to pretend he didn't even exist. So, of course, her mom finally gets back from Bali, finds an empty room, and a note from Blanche. About a week later, she just shows up at the dad's house unannounced, and she is ready for a fight. That was her opening line. Not, "I'm so sorry," but this complete revision of history. It's a classic gaslighting move, where someone tries to make you think you're the crazy one for remembering what actually happened. But Blanche, she wasn't buying it anymore, not after seeing the truth. So Blanche just confronts her head on, and her mother doesn't even say, "I chose my new husband." Nope. She's brutally honest. "I chose financial security." She admitted right to her daughter's face that she treated her for a life of luxury.
And if there was any lingering doubt in Blanche's mind, it vanished the second her stepfather Richard stormed in. He doesn't even talk to Blanche. He just starts ordering her mother around like she's a little kid. And in that one awful moment, Blanche saw the exact life her mom had chosen. A man who saw her as nothing but an inconvenience and treated his own wife with zero respect.
After that ugly final showdown, the path forward was crystal clear. Blanche chose to stay with her dad. And for the first time in a really long time, she started a life where she wasn't just an afterthought. She was a priority. And you know what? She didn't just survive this, she absolutely thrived. With her dad's full support, she started therapy to unpack all the trauma and emotional neglect. She switched to a new school, made real friends. And eventually, she took all that pain and turned it into a purpose, building a career helping other kids who were caught in the middle of a messy divorce. And this became her mantra. Her dad's decision to show up, to fight for her, even after being pushed away for years, that's what taught her what family is really all about. It's not just about blood. It's about who consistently, without fail, chooses to be there. Blanche's story is just, wow. It's such a powerful reminder that being abandoned doesn't have to be the end of your story. Sometimes it's a really brutal, unwanted beginning. It really makes you ask, where do we find our real family? And what does it actually mean to show up for somebody?